Okay, so that was the first two songs off my new record. The first one was called The Calm. That was the slower one, and then I went into Ignition. And I want to talk about the pedals that I'm using for both of those songs. I'm using Paul Reed Smith guitars through a Fryette Ultra Lead amp, and the delays, that kind of stuff is coming from an Axe Effects. But on the floor here, I have a good assortment of Xotic and EWS pedals, and I am definitely an overdrive pedal kind of guy. I have a lot of them, and the thing about Xotic and EWS, you know, a lot of companies make really good pedals, and of course I use multiple companies, but the thing about Xotic and EWS is like everything they make is something to have in your arsenal because they're all so good at what they do. So for the Calm, the first song, what I was using was an EP booster, and I have two EP boosters on my pedal board. I have one in the front of the chain and one in the back of the chain. And the reason for that, there's multiple reasons. First of all, sometimes I like to push a pedal from the front with an EP booster. An EP booster just fattens everything up. I really hardly ever turn off one or the other EP boosters. They're always on. No matter what amp, single coils or humbuckers, it just takes your sound and just fluffs it up a little bit more, and it's that comfort thing that once you turn it off, you feel just kind of deflated. So I usually always leave it on. But for that song in particular, I had the EP booster on in front, and that was pushing an RC booster. And oftentimes a question comes up, what is the difference between an EP booster and an RC booster? The RC obviously has a little bit more control over the EQ. There's a treble knob and a bass knob. The RC booster has a gain knob as well, where the EP booster just has basically a boost knob. But inside of the EP booster, there are little dip switches that you can kind of tailor your EQ from the inside. But obviously having it on the outside and a little bit more control over the EQ on the outside is what the RC booster is all about. So what I'm using this for, I do want a tiny bit more dirt in front of my amp for that particular song. So I do have the RC booster, just, I mean, maybe 25% gain, not much, because I do have, I'm using the orange channel on my Ultra Lead. So there is, you know, a little bit of gain on there already. I just want to push it a little bit more. And so the EP fluffs it up, pushes the RC adds that little bit more gain. That's really what it is. All my pedals are pretty much set volume-wise at unity gain, which means when I step on and off of them, the casual listener really shouldn't be able to tell that I am stepping on and off of pedals. But I do push them just a hair above unity gain from what my amp is. And it just gives you that comfort level, whatever color you're looking for. So for that song, I'm using the EP into the RC, and that's it. For the second song I played, Ignition, I turn off the RC, I leave the EP on, I switch over to my lead channel, the red channel on the Ultra Lead, and I'm using the BB preamp mid-boost pedal, the custom shop BB preamp from Xotic. And this one, it's a very natural amp-like type of overdrive, and it has that mid-boost. I was playing slide in those songs, and for me, having a little bit more mid-range just kind of helps the slide cut a little bit more, and it sounds great. So I use the BB preamp mid-boost as compared to the regular BB. And then for the one faster, that kind of part, live, sometimes I just need a little bit more cushion. So I actually step on the EWS brute drive in that case, just for that one part of that one song for that particular section. And yeah, it's kind of like EP into the BB, into the brute drive, and it's lots of gain stages and all that kind of stuff. But again, the casual listener really won't be able to hear it because a lot of the Xotic and EWS pedals, their mainstay of their construction is transparency. And that's what I love about them, because I spent a lot of time building my sound just from my hands to the guitar to the amp. Anything in between, I really don't want to color that much. So the transparency of all of these pedals is really something I enjoy. That's why I have a lot of them. But yeah, I'll step on that brute drive. So here's the BB here's the EP on into the BB. And it's great, very chewy, very comfortable saturation. But when you want just a tiny bit more, you know, I'm in particular going into the brute drive. Yeah, I mean, it's going to compress a lot more, but at that, those faster picking kind of things, you actually want a little bit more compression so that the notes that are kind of, especially when it's fast, it may not be that consistent. So more compression is going to bring up the valleys and push down the peaks, smooth everything out a little bit more. Makes sense to me. Yeah, for that song, EP booster into a BB preamp mid boost into the EWS root drive.